radon is just, it's a noble gas, right? It's a naturally occurring noble gas. I do know that. And it is kind of in the news right now when people are talking about it in Elk Grove, just because we found out that we have elevated levels in the high school, Now, it is naturally occurring, though. It is not uncommon to have radon in various buildings.
How does it enter into buildings from the ground?
I got you. So it seeps in through the foundation. Mm-hmm. So from my understanding, it seems like oftentimes, especially with older buildings, just with any structure, there's going to be shifts as the seasons change, and sometimes you'll get cracks in that foundation. Mm-hmm. So what will typically happen is, as that radon is kind of emitted from the ground, from the soil, it will seep through some of those cracks. And that's why oftentimes you'll find it. It's also a very dense element, which is why oftentimes you'll find it in basements and lower level.
Is it more common in our region per se than, let's say, in other regions?
So I'm glad that you asked that question, because I was digging into it a little bit, and here I'll kind of share with you what I found when I was looking at the the EPA has done some pretty in-depth research into radon, and they've kind of broken down the U.S. map into different zones, zone 1, 2, and 3, based on just the level of potential risk of radon. And you can kind of see where we are at. We're definitely in that zone 1. It's broken down by county. Some counties around us are in the zone 2, but where we are at, just because of our just geological structures here, we're just at a higher risk of having that radon around.
This fall, we hired a consultancy firm to come into our school and place little canisters around, and they left them for 2 weeks to measure the radon in the school. And so it was like a 2-week sample. Our results came back just with a need to retest for a longer period of time. Mm. So we're looking at now moving to test for 90 days, so we get a better sample of what our results really look like. From what I know, radon levels change very rapidly, so they go up and they go down, and depending on the year, depending on the weather, so on and so forth. So it's a long period test versus just a snapshot.
Are we taking any actions or planning to take any actions?
Yeah, so this week we've had 3 different mitigation companies come through, but we're not going to take any action until that 90-day window is done. So we're retesting, and then we will be mitigating once we have those results. So we're trying to just gather more information so we can make the best types of decisions.
I was surprised to know that the radon was in the building, that we're even testing for radon, and I was really surprised about the numbers being as high as they were in some locations.
Are you concerned for your health as a teacher?
I'm definitely concerned with my health. We spend a lot of time in the building. We spend a lot of time in our rooms, and especially if your room does have a radon problem, I can see that being an issue if you spend many years and many decades inside that portion or wing of the building, yes.
District 214 is really trying to do their best and be responsible to ensure a safe working place for students as well as staff, and we will do what we need to do to make sure that's a safe place.